It's December 2019 in Japan. At the Osaka airport is a large musical equipment case. Inside this case is a famous businessman and millionaire. No, he wasn't kidnapped. He's being smuggled out of Japan to escape the Japanese government. Today I'm talking about the ongoing Nissan scandal involving its former chairman and CEO, Carlos Ghosn. We're looking at what he's accused of, the story of his crazy arrest, and how he was held hostage by Japan for a year, and his miraculous escape. This is the conspiracy stuff movies are made of, only this time it's real. So buckle up and let's go for a ride.
So that former Nissan chairman Carlos Ghosn had been under house arrest in Japan, a real political hostage, and that he doesn't think he'll get a fair trial.
What do you think about this transition that we're seeing with so much money being poured into the development of electric vehicles right now?
Carlos Ghosn is no ordinary man. He's a Lebanese-French businessman and executive. He was already very well known in the business world and the car industry even before this scandal. He made a name for himself starting at an early age. When he was just 30 years old, he helped turn around Michelin South America's operation, bringing it to profitability in just 2 years. A few years later, he was appointed CEO and chairman of Michelin North America. They say he has the Midas touch. He also helped turn around Nissan into profitability. He's known to be radical, brutally competitive, a titan in the car industry. So much that they call him Le Cost Killer, Mr. Fix-It, and God of Cars. So how did this celebrity businessman go from being an influential person to an international fugitive? Fast forward to 1999. Nissan was struggling financially. It had a debt of $20 billion. And just a small handful of its car models were performing well. It's during this time that Ghosn purchased a 37% stake in Nissan and became the CEO. In keeping with his style, Ghosn implemented aggressive cost-cutting plans at Nissan. As a result, he rescued Nissan from near bankruptcy. Only it wasn't just that. He really shook things up because he didn't bow to Nissan's traditional corporate culture. So it's no surprise that he made some enemies along the way. Just fast forward to November 2018. That was a year before his great escape. Ghosn was called to chair a meeting with the Nissan board of directors. So he boarded a plane in Beirut, Lebanon, and headed for Tokyo, Japan. He landed at 4:30 p.m. A customs officer told him there was a problem with his passport, and he was taken into a small side room. Sitting inside the room was a Tokyo prosecutor, Yoshitaka Seki. Ghosn was thereby arrested and taken to the Tokyo Detention Center. Ghosn would be held in solitary confinement and subjected to daily interrogations for 109 consecutive days before being granted bail. He was kept in a tiny, unheated cell during the dead of winter, which many would arguably say qualifies as torture under the UN Torture Convention. And that was just his first period of confinement. He was rearrested and placed back in solitary confinement for another 21 days when he tried to speak to the press. This begs the question, why would a huge corporation like Nissan want to turn against its own executive and create a media scandal? At the time of his arrest, Ghosn was a powerful and influential man at the height of his career. He was chairman of Nissan, also chairman of Renault, and head of a three-way alliance between Nissan, Renault, and Mitsubishi. So what was the reason for his arrest? Alleged financial misconduct. Nissan alleges that Ghosn underreported only half of his income in official company filings to the Tokyo Stock Exchange from 2011 to 2015. Nissan also alleges that Ghosn used corporate money for personal purposes. Now, Nissan said a whistleblower initially shed light on the alleged financial misconduct, which led Nissan to start an internal investigation and inform prosecutors. According to the media, the informant is actually part of Nissan's legal team. But Ghosn maintains that he is innocent. He claims foul play, saying that the accusations are bogus and he was framed by internal leaders who wanted to dismiss him from the governance of the company. He believes that these internal leaders desired for Nissan to maintain its autonomy and were against the merger between Nissan, Renault, and Mitsubishi. They feared that Ghosn's plan to closely integrate Nissan and Renault would threaten their positions and the company's independence. His theory doesn't sound too far-fetched when you consider where Nissan and Renault are today. It's been 3 years since the start of the ordeal, and today Renault holds a 43% stake in Nissan. But now it effectively has no say in Nissan management and can only collaborate with Nissan via the Alliance Operating Board, which got set up after Ghosn was removed. Ghosn claims the coup was achieved by Japanese nationalists, some of whom were inside Nissan and others who weren't. Basically, their goal was to take Nissan back from its largest shareholder, which is Renault. After his arrest, Gosen realized he wouldn't get a fair trial in Japan. One of the reasons is due to hostage justice. That term is from a Japanese phrase that refers to the Japanese practice of detaining suspects for prolonged periods of time. During detention, suspects are typically kept in difficult conditions and subjected to relentless interrogations, often without a defense attorney until they confess. In Japan, a suspect can legally be held without charge for some 20 days, but prosecutors found a loophole, a workaround. They can extend that period by splitting the case into smaller, multiple offenses. This allows the prosecutor to rearrest the suspect after the suspect gets released, and so the detention process continues. And here's the other thing. Japan is a country that has a 99.4% conviction rate. It's like, why bother trying? Japan operates on a guilty until proven innocent system, rather than innocent until proven guilty system that the Western countries expect. Gosen knew that without a fair trial, he most likely be convicted and face 15 years in prison. That's why, for Gosen, escape was the only option. It's December 2019. It's a time of many musical concerts in Japan, and it's not uncommon to see musicians traveling with their instruments. So no one bats an eye when two American men who appear to be musicians check in at Japan's Osaka airport with a large musical luggage case. They board a private jet, plane takes off, and the flight is rather uneventful and goes unnoticed. But for Carlos Gosen, flight was mission impossible. It meant his life. He was being smuggled out of Japan in the music equipment case. Shortly after, the world would see Gosen in Lebanon shortly after New Year's. Why Lebanon? It's not just that Gosen is Lebanese by ethnicity and citizenship. The thing is, Lebanon doesn't have an extradition treaty with Japan. In a news conference soon after, Gosen publicly declared that he escaped injustice and political persecution in Japan, and that he would clear his name despite being an international fugitive. Later, Michael Taylor, an American private security specialist and U.S. Army Special Forces veteran, and his son Peter were extradited from the U.S. to Japan for smuggling Gosen out as he awaited trial. Prosecutors alleged that they were paid $1.3 million for orchestrating the escape operation under disguise. The former Green Beret received a 2-year sentence and his son a 1-year, 8-month sentence. Throughout the entire ordeal was another former Nissan executive and Gosen advisor. On the day that Gosen was arrested, Greg Kelly was also arrested when he flew from Tennessee to Tokyo. Nissan alleges that Kelly was involved in a criminal conspiracy and he illegally helped Gosen hide the truth about Gosen's income. But unlike Gosen, Kelly wasn't able to escape. Kelly adamantly asserts he wasn't involved with the criminal conspiracy and that he wasn't guilty of any crime. It's been 3 years that Gosen was first detained at Tokyo airport. If you think the story's already nutty, well, we've only scratched the surface because the story is even nuttier. Interestingly, one crucial group that avoided scrutiny is the corporate attorneys. So, one of the world's largest law firms is Latham & Watkins. They've been advising Nissan for decades. We're talking since the 1980s on various matters including executive compensations. In fact, they provided legal counsel on the very first compensation package that Gosen supposedly underreported. But here's the surprise twist. This very law firm was then also hired to investigate Gosen's supposed wrongdoing. In other words, in case you don't catch that, the same firm that's investigating the allegations are therefore supposed to investigate their own work. If that doesn't sound like a conflict of interest, then I don't know what is. You'd think a law firm would recognize the legal ramifications of this and bow out and let an outside law firm with absolutely no prior links to the case whatsoever handle the probe to ensure a purely independent investigation. But that's not the case here. This entire Nissan mess has been in the news for years now. Whatever their true agenda was, one thing's for sure. The market is punishing Nissan. Combined business and market cap losses are almost $40 billion, and that's including $16 to $17 billion at Nissan itself. This fiscal year, the alliance partners were back to profitable. But still, profit margins are way below the industry average. Some people say that Nissan is crumbling. A lot of key executives left because of this mess of corporate politics. But it's not just that. Many consumers are unclear where Nissan is going or what their vision is. And look, Nissan used to be a world leader when it came to electric cars, but that's not the case anymore. But Nissan is fighting back. Recently, Nissan showed off some new EV concepts, including an electric pickup truck, SUV, and a sports car. They say they're investing $17.6 billion in the next 5 years to roll out new EVs. Their plan is to make 23 new models by 2030, 15 of which will be EVs. And they're targeting 50% of their sales to be EVs in the years to come. So what does the future of Nissan hold? Only time will tell. But for now, if you think this would make for a wild conspiracy theory movie, well, you're not far off. Gosen has already published a book, and word on the street is that Apple and Netflix are producing their own versions of the story as we speak. But now you tell me, what do you think about the Nissan scandal? Do you have any conspiracy theories about it? And does this change your opinion about Nissan? Please comment below and share. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.